Everyone's favorite former undisputed lightweight champion and Devin the Dream Haney is about to face off against Regis Prograis in his 140-pound super lightweight debut. Only described as what's most likely about to be a pretty much well contested, but I do see it as probably going to be a boxing lesson in favor of that of Devin Haney. All right. So my thoughts on the fight, I'm just going to make it short and sweet. I'm actually not even going to get to watch this fight simply because I got to work that night. I've been working from 11 to 7 on weekends at a nursing home as a CNA just to make extra money. But I'm just going to go ahead and give you my thoughts, my opinions, and what I think is going to happen in this particular fight here. So when I look at the two styles of the two fighters, and I look at the style of Regis Prograis, someone who's a southpaw, someone who has really good, respectable power, good knockout power. I believe that he has 30 fights, 29 wins, 1 loss, and I believe 24 knockouts. Against Devin Haney's 30 fights as well, 30 wins, no losses, and 15 knockouts, which Devin Haney hasn't had a knockout in, I believe, 3 to 4 years. He doesn't really have a lot of power, but he has a lot of skill. He has good timing, he has a good jab, and he has good footwork to be able to keep himself off the ropes and to pivot and to turn his opponent to keep him in a favorable position to keep throwing his signature jab and straight right hand combination that he loves to do so much. Now, when it comes to Regis Prograis, I look at him and I see him. He's the type of fighter who really likes to mix it up on the inside. He has a brawling style. He does use his jab to set up his punches, but not in a similar way as someone like Vasily Lomachenko, who is constantly on you, using a lot of feints, using a lot of footwork, using a lot of angles to try to get that favorable angle on you. Regis Prograis is more kind of like, it's kind of like Errol Spence in a way, where he kind of like gets really close to you and then he throws off a lot of sharp combinations. But unlike Errol Spence, I don't think that he has an educated jab, and I don't think that his footwork is as good, because Errol Spence is the type of guy who does follow his opponent around the ring very well. He is someone who targets his opponent and he tracks them very well, and when they make a move, he makes a move, and he keeps throwing that jab out, and he has a busy work rate, and he's able to stay on his opponent, and he's able to mix up the punches and get good leverage and do a lot of things that are really effective when you have that type of boxer puncher, somewhat of a brawler style. But Regis Prograis, he's very similar to that in a sense, except that in my opinion, he does not do it in as much as an educated way as a guy like Errol Spence Jr. Like Regis Prograis, he'll often like throw out his jab. He'll kind of like have his his right hand up for the jab, and he'll stick his head sideways and he'll kind of flicker it out a little bit. And then he oftentimes likes to do this thing where he'll double jab with the right hand, and then he'll throw his left hand, and he'll double jab with the right hand, and then he'll throw his left hand, and he'll do it repeatedly, and then until he's able to get close to his opponent. Then he'll start throwing more diverse combinations, like he'll start throwing a left hook or a right hook, or he'll start throwing shots to the body, and then sometimes he will do a stabbing jab to the body from that position. But he'll either kind of he's kind of similar to reminds me a little bit of George Kambosos, but just a more harder puncher, more talented version of that, where it's like his defense pretty much consists of him kind of going like this a lot and throwing out his jab. And honestly, when you have someone like that, his fighting style pretty much is tailor-made for a guy like Devin Haney, because Devin Haney is someone who is very good at stepping in and out with his jab. He's very good at timing his right hand. He has very good footwork. He's good coming forward, fighting in the mid-range. He's good fighting in long range. And even though he doesn't have a lot of punching power, he does have the wherewithal, and he's able to either wrap you up really good on the inside or trade punches with you on the inside. And I feel like someone like Regis Prograis, who may have him beat in the punching power department, it seems like that Devin Haney pretty much has Regis Prograis beaten every other aspect of boxing with the exception of punching power. So when I see this fight, I do think that Regis Prograis does have enough power to really hurt Devin Haney. I do think that he has enough power to where if he gets him with a good shot or if he gets him with a good series of punches and dazes him, he could possibly knock Devin Haney out. But I just think that it's unlikely to do so, just due to the fact that Devin Haney has fought so many guys who have more punching power than him, and he's fought guys who have a more sophisticated defense and offensive scheme, or defense and offensive practices in the ring, than someone like Regis Prograis. Like when he was fighting Vasily Lomachenko was getting the better of him during a bunch of times during that fight. He was snapping his head back. He was hitting him with a straight left hand. He was, timing his jab and getting Devin Haney in between his jab, using his own jab. And he was doing a lot of sophisticated things. But a guy like Vasily Lomachenko is constantly in movement. He is constantly tracking his opponent down. He's constantly moving his hands, which makes it seem like he's having continuous feints. He's has better punch placement than a guy like Regis Prograis. And even with that, there were still times, and he's constantly moving his head. He has like this windshield wiper kind of like back and forth. You see guys like Alexander Usyk do it as well, like these Ukrainian guys, where they'll just constantly move their head, and they're constantly moving their feet, and they're constantly moving their hands all at the same time. And even then, like I said, there were times where Devin Haney was still able to jab and to get his jab off on a guy like Vasily Lomachenko. And because Vasily Lomachenko always likes to have his hands up and always likes to have his hands moving, to use that misdirection, and so that his hands are in a perfect opportunity to go ahead and throw that jab anytime he sees an opener, anytime he has the favorable angle, he does leave his body open a lot. Devin Haney was able to capitalize on that, hit him with a lot of body shots. Now, Devin Haney's Achilles heel is that, at least at 135, I don't know if it's going to be the same at 140 once he puts on a little bit more weight, a little bit more muscle. He really didn't have any punching power, at 135. He would hit guys with a lot of stuff, and there would be an accumulation of punches that would scar up and mark up their face. But it was rare that you really saw Devin Haney hit somebody with something and that they were just completely dazed, looking like they were about to go out, even when he hit them cleanly. You can see that in the fight against Vasily Lomachenko, where Devin Haney was constantly hitting Vasily Lomachenko to the body, and it doesn't seem like it was deterring Vasily Lomachenko at all. Vasily Lomachenko was still coming forward. Lomachenko was still throwing his jab out. Vasily Lomachenko was still trying to walk Devin Haney down, trying to rough Devin Haney up in the clinch, versus when Vasily Lomachenko fought a guy with much more punching power who was doing similar things, going to the body, and Teofimo Lopez. And he got hit so hard with Teofimo Lopez's shots that there were times through the first half of that fight he was really afraid to engage. And when Teofimo Lopez hit Vasily Lomachenko, he was hitting him so hard that it was knocking him back into the ropes, like just the force of the punches. And I think that, when he fought Devin Haney, and Devin Haney was also hitting him with a lot of hard, clean body shots, they just weren't nearly as hard as what Teofimo Lopez was hitting him with. So it didn't really deter him from coming in. And I think that's one advantage that Regis Prograis has, is that Regis Prograis isn't afraid to get in a firefight with his opponent. You saw that when he fought Josh Taylor. He was right with Josh Taylor, even though Josh Taylor was tagging him clean. So I feel like a guy like Devin Haney hitting him isn't necessarily going to stop him from progressing forward. So he does have that advantage, where I think that he is strong and he's tough enough and he's mentally tough enough to still take the fight to Devin Haney. I just think he's going to have a hard time catching him. I just think that he's going to have a hard time getting his jab off. I just think he's going to have a hard time keeping him on the ropes. And I think that's going to be the difference. Also, when you think about that, even though that he has the toughness to not succumb to being tentative from being hit hard with Devin Haney's shots, I think that plays into Devin Haney's skill set as well, because Devin Haney is a pretty good power counter puncher. And just like in the George Kambosos fight, where George Kambosos was just going balls to the wall, constantly trying to hit Devin Haney, or in the Jojo Diaz fight, where Jojo Diaz was doing the same thing, by them getting frustrated and then going into that brawler style, which a guy like Regis Prograis tends to do as well. Get frustrated with his opponent and then try to just up the ante by just throwing a lot of punches, going into a brawling style. It really opened up them to be encountered a lot by Devin Haney and opened up Devin Haney to look even better by, throwing out his jab, throwing his right hand, throwing jabs to the body, throwing right hands to the body, pulling back out at the last minute and just keep doing it. And I think that there are certain guys like, Devin Haney, a guy like Floyd Mayweather, a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who are very, 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 very adept at fighting this type of brawler, this type of come forward, this type of style. And you're really playing into their hands when you pick an opponent like that. I think the only time a guy like that is really in danger of fighting a guy who has this particular style is when they have like overwhelming power and overwhelming pressure. So you saw that a guy like David Benavidez fought someone like Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, even though Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade has a lot of skills that are better than David Benavidez's. When he was able to catch on to Demetrius Andrade, he was able to lay some stuff on him that really hurt him, even though a lot of it was initially being blocked. He has a type of power to where even if you block the shots or roll with the punches are coming so hard and so fast that do a lot of damage to an opponent, even if they are being defensively responsible. And when I look at a guy like Regis Prograis, like I said, he has a lot of power, but I just don't think that he has that type of power to where if a guy's being really defensively responsible, is really able to roll, block, and dodge the punches, that it's just to no avail. Kind of like that Artur Beterbiev type of power. Like if he catches you, he's hurt you. Or Canelo Alvarez at 168. If he catches you, even if you're able to move around, kind of like Caleb Plant did, kind of like Charlo did, he's still able to hurt you because he's throwing these hard thudding shots that are hurting your arms, that are making it so that, you have to pull down your hands. It's making it so that you're really afraid to engage with him because of how hard he's hitting you. And I think at 140, I don't see Regis Prograis with that type of power. I see Teofimo Lopez with that type of power because the same punches that Regis Prograis was hitting Josh Taylor with, that Josh Taylor was able to take and still continue to throw, even though you can debate whether or not you think that he won or lost that fight, it was nothing compared to what Teofimo Lopez was doing. Teofimo Lopez, who I think is a bigger puncher than a Regis Prograis. Teofimo Lopez, when he hit Josh Taylor was falling all the way back. Teofimo Lopez, to where he hit Vasily Lomachenko was going into those ropes. Teofimo Lopez, to where when he hit Josh Taylor, a dude who always comes forward, always there to fight, he was afraid and very tentative to go against Teofimo Lopez and get hit with those big hard shots. And I think that Regis Prograis having that power and fighting the way that he does, it isn't going to be enough to stop a guy like Devin Haney. He's pretty much going to get outboxed, and I see it as a unanimous decision for Devin Haney. Not saying that Regis Prograis is a bad fighter. I just don't think that he has, one, the footwork to track down Devin Haney. I don't think that he has the head movement and the defense to stop him from getting constantly tagged with Devin Haney's jab. I don't think that he has the power to really hurt Devin Haney unless he catches him clean. And then even if he does have the power to catch him clean, you've seen him get hit very cleanly by a guy with respectable power in Vasily Lomachenko when Devin Haney was getting his head snapped back and he was able to recover, keep his wits together, and still continue to fight back. And the same thing with Jorge Linares. He got hit with a big shot, the same shot that put Vasily Lomachenko down. Devin Haney was able to take that and was able to still, he was wobbly going back to the stool, but then he got himself together and he continued to fight back. Now, and then also, I don't think that he has the variety of punches to really get to a guy like Devin Haney. Because when you fight a guy like Devin Haney, you either have to have really good timing, you have to have really good speed, you have to have variety of punches as well so that you can mix it up so that you can hit him. Because if you do, kind of like what Regis Prograis does, like I said, when he tries to close the distance, like in that, I think it was like Zopilla or whatever his name was. Danielito Zodrilla was his name. I don't know why I say Zopilla so many times. My bad, I'm just country as hell. I forget the name of that fighter. I think it was like Zopilla or whatever. But he was fighting against him, and he kept doing that, right hand jab, left, straight left, and he kept doing it over and over again. He was fighting in a fighting style that, or Zopilla. He was fighting a style that he usually doesn't fight in, where he was fighting a lot off the back foot, and he was blocking a lot of Regis Prograis' punches, and he was able to, counter Regis Prograis and Regis Prograis had a lot of trouble with him. Now, this is a guy who's not necessarily that great at fighting off the back foot. He doesn't have the best jab in the world, doesn't have the best punch placement in the world, doesn't have the best variety in the world, but just him moving a little bit backwards more than he normally does and trying to set up his punches better and being mindful of Regis Prograis' power. Because like I said, I don't think it's Teofimo Lopez level, but it is. If you just think you're about to go in there and play with him, he could knock you out easily type of power, and he did. Or not knock him out, he knocked him down, but then Zapilla was able to recover and start fighting back. And I just think that he has a lot of trouble with that type of style, with that type of, you know, like Andis Larry Lara type of, like, I'm gonna move around and just tag you with the jab type of style. And I just don't think that he has boxing skill to really trap him and counter him the way that he's going to need to in order to win this fight. Now, I have been wrong before, and I could very well be wrong again, but like I said, with all the things that I've just said, I'm pretty much seeing this as a unanimous decision win for Devin Haney. Like I said, I can't watch it live, but if I turn on my phone, you know, the next day, and before I can watch a replay of it, I hear everybody saying that Devin Haney got knocked out. I would be surprised, but like I said, Regis Prograis does have the punching power necessary to knock him out. Regis Prograis hits you cleanly several times, or if he catches you with something and you're not looking, he has that power to knock you out. He's done it plenty of times to plenty of different people. I just wouldn't bet on it happening. Like, if somebody gave me $1,000 and they said I had to bet, I wouldn't bet on it happening. I would bet that Devin Haney's going to establish his jab in the beginning. Devin Haney's going to roll off the ropes. He's going to pivot. He's going to be able to hit Regis Prograis a lot with that jab to the body, jab to the head, jab to the body, jab to the head, straight right hand. And then when Regis Prograis comes in close, once he closes the distance, Devin Haney is going to be able to wrap Regis up. You know, during the break, he's going to go back to the same thing around maybe the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. Possibly even before that, Regis Prograis is going to start getting very frustrated. When he gets very frustrated, he's going to start throwing punches and bunches. He's going to start tiring down from throwing punches and bunches. He's going to start kind of coming close against Devin Haney. When he does that, it's going to open him up more to being countered. Devin Haney's going to keep going inside, outside, you know, jabbing him from the outside, coming in with the right hand, coming in a little bit, throwing some hooks, wrapping him up. Regis Prograis is going to get some things off. I think there's going to be a point in the fight where Regis does hit Devin Haney with something nasty. But like I said, I don't think that Devin Haney's chinny just because he got wobbled with Jorge Linares. I think that shows that he does actually have a good chin because he didn't go down. And considering that he got hit a bunch against Vasily Lomachenko and he was able to come back and still, after being his head snapped back several times, still go back to the corner, get his wits together, be able to talk to his father, be able to, you know, have just weather the storm and be in control of the moment, still being able to fight back. Although if anyone says that he lost that fight, you know, that's fine. You can say that. Like, I'm not saying 100% that he won. I'm just saying it was close enough to where it could have went either way. But if you say he lost, that's fine. You know, like, I'm not about to argue against you on that. But when it comes to that, he's not fighting a Vasily Lomachenko. He's fighting a Regis Prograis. He's fighting someone who doesn't have as good of head movement. He's fighting someone who doesn't have as good as footwork. He's fighting someone who doesn't have as good as punch placement. He's fighting someone who doesn't have as good as punch variety. He's fighting someone who sometimes gets frustrated, and he's fighting someone who sometimes gets gassed by the end of the fight. And I think all of those factors together are going to play in Devin Haney's hands. And if I'm wrong, I'll just be wrong. I'll come back here, I make a post-fight video and be all like, oh, okay, I was completely wrong. Regis Prograis went in there and he was able to just knock Devin out with a bunch of straight right hands or right hooks. And when he came in on the inside, Devin was trying to hold him, and he was just too strong, and he was pushing Devin around, and Devin wasn't able to do nothing with him. And then Devin either got beat by unanimous decision from getting beat up too much, or he just got knocked out. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But just from looking at the two fighters, even though I haven't seen Devin at 140, and I know that there's guys like Showbiz, the adult, saying that he expects Devin to knock him out. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do expect Devin to win the fight. But that's all I got to say about that, man. Just go ahead and leave leave your comments in the description. Go ahead and tell me I'm dumb for thinking Devin's gonna win, or I'm dumb for thinking, or that Devin really did beat Vasily Lomachenko, or Vasily Lomachenko really did beat him, or whatever you have to say. Like I said, I'm gonna be busy working and taking care of my kids, so I'm probably not gonna read a lot of the comments and stuff. I'll comment on the ones that I do see, and that's if the algorithm even pushes this video out. But like I said, that's all I really got to say about that. It's been me, Average Josh, from the Average Josh podcast, back at it again, finally, with another video after, I think, months of not making videos. And I'm out. You all have a blessed and wonderful day, and enjoy your fight.